Sometimes you may have to get a book that you want to recover, usually a paperback, and you'll find that it has this white sort of plastic glue on the spine, which is a hot glue used in modern publishing. Previous old books are glued with animal glue and so on. You can get that off quite easily by soaking it with paste, for example. But this one you can't. It's not soluble. So how do you deal with that? You could guillotine it off if you've got the facilities to do that, and there's enough space in the book to allow you to trim off a millimetre or two. But if you don't have a guillotine, it's quite difficult to work with. So what I'm going to do is show you how I do it, which is to use a hairdryer. Now, because this is a hot melt glue, a hairdryer would loosen the glue, basically just soften it a little bit, and with a bit of luck it will allow me to scrape most of it off. I'll not get all of it off, but we should get most of it off. So let's see if it works on this particular example. So it took a little while to get going, but it's there, it's working. You can see that the glue is melting slowly, and with a firm knife, I'm just using an old table knife, you can scrape it off. Now you've got to bear in mind that these usually are like this, are single sheets that are simply glued at the spine. So once you get to the point where you're very close to the edges of the paper, you do have to be a little bit careful, because you don't want to start damaging the pages. So that's about the amount I'm going to be taking off all the way down the spine. That will be enough then for me to work the book. I want to round the shoulders very slightly, round the corners very slightly, and we'll see what it ends up like. So I'll just carry on with this and we'll see how we go. Now all of the, or most of the plastic adhesive has come off. I've got as much as I can off with the knife. I'm going to go over it again just to get off any loose bits and so on. But I think that should be about right. And whilst it's still warm, then I will look at shaping the spine, which is why I've done this. If I was just going to put a new flat back case on, then there's no point in removing the adhesive at all, just leave it as it is. But I'm going to add a couple of end papers. I'm going to round the back very slightly and put a rounded back case on. So that's why I needed to take that off. So a little bit of tidying up done and then we're done. What I should have said is before I started doing that, I removed any residual paper once I'd taken the cover off the spine. There was some paper on there, so just soak that off with a bit of water and scrape that off, and that exposes the plastic, and then as you can see it cleans up relatively nicely with a bit of patience.